Let's go. It's the Friday edition. Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. Alex Strouf with you from the Gerber Law Offices. One call, That's All Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Joshy's off today. So Joshy, I don't know. He texted me the other day. He's like, hey, man, we've got some beef. We've got to talk about it on Friday. And the dude didn't even show up. So here we are nonetheless. Tiny Hands, producer Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn is back at the Everlate Solar Studio in downtown Madison. It is 12:35, so we're a couple minutes late on this Friday. Hunter, I'm going to wear this. I'm not even going to get after you. I think it's completely my fault we're running late. That's on me. So for all of you loyal YouTube and Facebook live watchers, appreciate you hanging on for a few extra minutes. But good to be with you. On this Friday, ahead of Packers-Lions, Badgers-Iowa, going to be the highest scoring game in all of college football this year, coming up on Saturday. But the big one is Sunday up at Lambeau Field, 3:25 kick, Packers-Lions. So we'll spend a ton of time on that. We don't know if Jordan Love's going to play. It's as simple as that as it stands right now, 12:35 on Friday. We don't know whether or not Love's going to go. I would guess he probably will, but there's no guarantee either way. So we will all find out together when it comes to Jordan Love, but it'll be a minute. We'll find out at 1:30 on Sunday, really, whether or not he goes. But good to see he was limited yesterday, and good to see he's likely limited today in their walkthrough. And we will see, come Sunday. But that's that. It is what it is. We're also going to do a couple other fun things today. It's a Wacky Friday. We like our Wacky Friday shows. And we've got a huge week coming up next week with Coaches Week. Filmed my interview with Shaka Smart this morning. That dude is electric. One of the most intelligent people I've ever talked to. And that's no slight at Hunter by any means. It's just, Shaka's very, very smart. It was really an awesome conversation. Talked to Doug Gottlieb yesterday up at Green Bay. He's excited for year one. I think a lot of people are going to be impressed by Doug Gottlieb. That's my takeaway from my conversation with him. And then, of course, I referenced on Wednesday, Greg Gard as well, going to join us. Bart Lundy, who I will record with tomorrow, entering year two at Milwaukee. So the 4 Division I men's basketball coaches in the state of Wisconsin, on Mr. Irrelevant next week. For Coaches Week, you can also hear a shortened version of all those interviews on the radio, on ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, and ESPN Beaver Dam next week as we tip off the college basketball season on Monday. And Hunter, you're also a huge college hoops fan, which I think is why we get along so well sometimes. I can't believe college basketball is already here, but I'm so glad the week it lands on, right? Because the season tips off Monday. No Badgers, no Packers next weekend. They both have bye weeks next weekend. So I can really dive into college hoops next week, which is lovely. But I didn't realize how great the timing was for college basketball season to tip off until like yesterday. I don't know if you knew this before me, but wild timing.
Well, and then too, you get a lot of the like random weeknight games to mix in with some action that starts in November, and then the Thursday night football and Monday night football. Like, as great as October might be because you have the World Series and baseball playoffs, November is still pretty great with college basketball then starting up. Like, I might actually lean towards November being better.
It's a really good stretch, right? I mean, so you have November, December, January of NBA, and everything that goes on, right? NBA, NFL, college hoops, college football. January, you have the college football playoff, you have the NFL playoffs, then you have the Super Bowl, then you have All-Star break, then college basketball, March Madness, and NBA play. I mean, it just goes so quick. So this is like the best 6-month stretch, and the World Series coming to an end the other night. Hilarious, by the way. Hilarious fall from grace for the Yankees. Similarly to the Bears' Hail Mary against the Commanders last weekend. Total disappointing breakdown from the Yankees, which was entertaining. But hey, New York can rebound with a win by the Jets last night over the Texans on Thursday Night Football. So anyway, great time of the year. Coaches Week launches on Monday. You can catch all those interviews in full, the ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison YouTube channels, and we will play some of them next week on Mr. Irrelevant as well as on the radio side. But something I got really excited to work on, and something we're going to bring to you next week to tip off the college basketball season is Coaches Week. All right, let's dive in. Lions-Packers. So the way I've set it up all week is it is for first place in the division. It is a first place game in the NFC North. And it is going to have a serious impact on how this season shakes out. Obviously, I view this as the most important game of the season for both teams up to this point. Lions 6-1, Packers 6-2, despite losing Jordan Love in about 2.5 of those games. Packers are still finding ways to win football games. But as we outlined when Love got hurt against Philly, and as we continue to outline, the soft part of the Packers' schedule is over and done with. It's over and done with, right? We're on to the Lions, the bye week, then it's divisional matchups. You've got the Niners in there. You've got the Dolphins, who will likely be healthy on Thanksgiving. You've got a bunch of really big ball games coming up the second half of the season, which starts this weekend. But I don't want to overreact when I say this is the biggest game of the season, right? I don't want to say, hey, this will dictate the winner of the NFC North, which, of course, is partially true, but a lot can happen in the second half of the season. I give credit to Jason Wilde yesterday on Weekly Wilde for calming me down, right? Because I think initially when this week kicked off, I was so amped up, and I still am for this matchup. But I don't know if it's going to be take as big of a toll as we maybe think now, as it will on the way the playoff seeding shakes out and ultimately the NFC North shakes out. If the Lions are 7-1 and the Packers are 6-3, clearly you got some work to do. But you have another crack at them if you lose. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to make anybody calm down. If Malik Willis goes in this game, we need to understand that this is not the end-all, be-all of the season, because the NFL season is 17 games. It's not just, these couple or this weekend, right? This doesn't dictate the entirety of your season. But it's a huge game. It's a ginormous game for confidence. It's a measuring stick game for the Packers on both sides of the football. Where do you stand against the best of the best? There is a path for the Packers to win if either quarterback plays. I think we talked about this a little bit on Wednesday. I may have said this on the Homer Hour, which I was filling in for on Wednesday. There are pretty, there are pretty clear things you have to do in order to beat the Lions, no matter who plays quarterback. It's going to be harder if Malik Willis is your starter, no doubt about it, because he's limited in this offense compared to what Jordan Love is. That's both in terms of skill set, but also just knowledge of how the offense operates. If Jordan Love plays, you feel better about your chances, but you still have to do a lot of good things. Jordan Love has thrown a lot of interceptions this year. It just hasn't broke the Packers' back yet. If Jordan Love throws 2 interceptions against Detroit on Sunday, they're going to lose that game. You can't turn the ball over. That's what Tennessee did last week. They turned the ball over early, but they also did it often. 4 turnovers for Tennessee against the Lions, and Detroit turns around and puts up 52 points. That's clearly problematic when you're playing a team with as potent of an offense as Detroit has, but also as stable of a defense as they have. The question I've heard KBN, Kyle Bruston, Nortman ask, everybody they talked to this week, Rob Domofsky, Mark Tauscher, Jason Wilde, etc. How many points do the Packers need to score? So, Hunter, I actually want to ask you that question before I give my answer. How many points do the Packers need to score in order to win against the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, have put up 40 or more in 3 of the last 4 weeks?
Oh, man. I think they've got to get north of, I want to say 35. And that's with a good defensive effort.
That's high.
Yeah.
That's high. I mean, it's probably in the ballpark because Detroit can put up numbers, and the Packers' defense has been solid. And if McKinney picks off Goff and you get an extra opportunity, my number's a little bit lower, but it's in the right ballpark. I think the number's 31. I think if they score 4 touchdowns and a field goal, they win the game.
Yeah, if Malik Willis is the quarterback, I just feel like you need to maximize every single possession because I just think you're going to see him stall out against that defense at times. And to ask the defense then for the Packers to have to be able to stop Detroit multiple times because, you might go through a stretch in the third quarter where, okay, you got 3 drives, you're punting it, it's 3 and out, the offense hasn't figured it out, and then to have to try and make stops to hold the game close, you're going to have to get touchdowns on all of your other drives, basically. That's just where I feel like this team is at if Malik Willis is there because of how good Detroit is. I still think they can win it. Yeah. But you've got to maximize every single drive. You can't be settling for 100%. Field goals.
No, I'm with you, right? 1 or 2 maybe, but after that, no, you got to get 7. I think it's as simple as if Malik Willis plays, it's do what he's done, right? Minimize turnovers, dominate time of possession. long, sustained drives, to your point, that end in 7, not 3. And I think that can go ahead and, I think that's how you win the game. I think this is going to be a really entertaining football game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be tight no matter who plays quarterback. Of course, I think Detroit is the better team right now. But that said, I don't want to be playing my best football in October. I guess it's November now, November 1st today. I don't want to be playing my best football yet. After the bye, yeah, you want to start, easing up and easing into playing your best football, but the Packers have not played their best football yet. I think you can say the Lions have. Now, that's not to say it's. I don't think 40 points a game is sustainable, but I think playing as well as they have is sustainable, sure. But I might start making the case that the Lions are peaking at the wrong time. Dan Campbell, as we talked a little bit about on Wednesday, he's a good head coach. But he made too many mental errors, coaching mistakes in the second half of last season, and then obviously in the NFC Championship game against the Niners, leaving the door open that Kyle Shanahan metaphorically kicked down. So I'm not saying Detroit has played their best football. I'm just saying they may have played their best football. Hopefully that's not the case on Sunday as the Packers host the Lions. We'll talk more about this game with our Underdog Pick segment coming up in a little bit. But the Jordan Love segment on this show is this. I don't know. You don't know. Matt LaFleur probably. I don't even know that Jordan Love knows whether or not he's going to play. I would like him to, I've landed on. I would like him to. And I understand the risk. We do not want the groin injury, which could be short-term, turn into long-term. But with the bye coming up, you've got 2 weeks to essentially get healthy. And that's going to be important for a lot of guys, right? Evan Williams might not go this weekend. He's been a huge part of that defense. So, it's a big one. Lions favored by 2.5. Mad City Brew chimes in with an interesting point. Detroit has played 4 games in a row on turf. We will see how Detroit's offense is on grass, and Goff will be different playing outside. Yeah, that's a good point. I think Detroit only plays 2 games all year outside, I think I saw. And this is one of them. And the other one, I think, already happened. I think the rest of their games the remainder of the season are in domes, which is good for them, but bad to come to Lambeau on a rainy, gross day. It's going to rain a lot, so Josh Jacobs, come on. By the way, Chris Brooks, who played at the end of that game on Sunday against Jacksonville, I want to see more reps out of him. Because if Malik Willis goes, you're going to be grounded and pounded, and I think you're going to do it either way, even if Love plays, with the conditions and his health and the point I just made, long sustained drives, time of possession, got to win it. Chris Brooks, I'd like to see some more action out of him. I thought he had a really nice game last weekend against Jacksonville. Good in pass protection and kind of an angry runner, which I like. Go ahead, Hunter.
Just as a little bit of a fact check for the grass stuff, looking at their schedule. So, obviously playing at Lambeau on grass. Then they will be the Texans technically, I think, still play on grass at NRG. Because then that's their next game. They're at Houston. So that's a maybe. But then they're at the Bears still. That'd be week 15. And then week 16 at the Niners, also on grass. For their remaining schedule. Otherwise, during the season, so far at least, they played at the Cardinals, which is grass, and that would be it. So, yeah, not many games on actual grass.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 of them, and 2 of them in warm climates.
Yes.
So Houston and San Francisco, right? So, yeah, this is probably the coldest game they'll play in the regular season, which is wild.
That Bears game will get... That Bears game will be colder.
Oh, true. I miss Chicago. Sorry.
Yeah, that's December 22nd. I would be shocked if December 22nd at Chicago is warmer.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm hearing Hunter say the Bears are going to beat the Lions on December 22nd. That's what you're saying, right?
No. They'll
come on, be a hero. Call your shot. Be a hero.
No. I really like this Detroit team. I think they are really good. And you said that you're worried that they're playing their best. I don't think that it's they're peaking too soon. I just think this is how good they are.
And look, dude, I am not biased to my fandom. I think you might be right. They are that good. So we'll see. We'll see, man. We will see. All right, we got to do this. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at some tiers in the NFL, which will be fun. We haven't done that since before the season. And Hunter produced the hell out of this, man. He gave it a little twist. So we will tier all 32 NFL teams coming up next. We will also look at our underdog picks. And like I said, we're going to throw a little curveball at you. For the first time in a year, Maddie Hayes, our social media extraordinaire, will join us to throw 5 random questions at me. I haven't screened them. I don't know if they're sports. I don't know if they're non-sports. That's all coming up here in a bit. But first, got to tell you about my friends at Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. I've said it 100 times. You've heard me say it 100 times, and I ain't done yet. Winter football season is whiskey season for me. I love the Door County Distillery bourbon. And I also really like, but I drink more bourbon than I do whiskey. 20 or normal whiskey, but they're single malt whiskey. 27-time gold medal award winner. It's absolutely delicious. You can drink it on the rocks. You can mix it up whatever you prefer. It's really, really good. You got to try it. And then they also make a rye whiskey. But if whiskey's not your thing, maybe it's their gin, that classic green bottle. Maybe it's their vodka, classic blue bottle, or the cherry vodka made with Door County cherries. Also have a cherry brandy with Door County cherries. They've got gins, they've got rums, they've got vodkas, they've got whiskeys, they've got everything you need to elevate your tailgate, your party, whatever you've got going on. Or maybe you just got to elevate the downstairs bar. Do it with Door County Distillery. Elevate it. The Door County Distillery and DoorCountyDistillery.com. All right, tiers list coming up next. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf.
Happy spooky season. What's the best drink this October? My friends at Door County Distillery are going to teach me how to make it.
Fall in a glass. It's the apple butter bourbon fizz from Door County Distillery. All you got to do is scoop apple butter into a cocktail shaker, take 2.5 ounces of your bourbon, shake that, strain that, and then fill the rest of the cup with ginger beer. And if you like to, which I like to, dash a little cinnamon on top of that. Boom, shakalaka, you've got the apple butter bourbon fizz from Door County Distillery.
Cheers, the apple butter bourbon fizz. I'm not going to say it 5 times fast enough. There's like a apple cider taste to it.
Apple cider vibes, yeah.
That's like corn maze for adults drink, is what that tastes like.
Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com. Yeah, DoorCountyDistillery.com is the website. All right, so we've done this a few times in the show's history. I think we did one sometime during training camp. I think it was before preseason games began, though. I took all 32 NFL teams. I threw them in 5 categories. Now, this time around, we are not using contender playoff team. Nah, no boring-ass titles for our tiers. In honor of our absent second producer / co-host / whatever his title is, Joshie DiMaggio, every Wednesday on the show we do one word, and Joshie has a long list now of words I cannot use when we do one word. But that does not apply to the tier list. Well done by Hunter here. These are the 5 categories we are putting NFL teams in today. The top one, sexy. One of the banned words from one word. Second one, anybody? Frisky. The middle one, middle of the pack, intriguing. And then the bottom 2, meh and bad. All 5 of those words are banned from one word. We're using them today to talk about the NFL in a grander scheme of things here as we enter week 9, right around the midpoint of the NFL season. Hunter, any thoughts, comments, concerns, or questions for me before we get into this?
No, just waiting for the message from Josh when he sees this and is annoyed with the two of us. Because this is what happens when he leaves.
He will be. Yeah, we inmates running the asylum, brother. It's what we love to see here on a Friday afternoon. We're having some fun today, man. It's a fun irrelevant. All right, let's get into this thing. We will start with the Cincinnati Bengals, who I will put right smack dab in the middle. They're heating up. They're intriguing. I'm not ready to go frisky yet, but I think they're going to make the playoffs, so maybe I should go frisky. But, man, that division's so good. Pittsburgh's good. They're well coached, obviously, by one of the best in the league, Mike Tomlin. Baltimore is probably a top 4 favorite for the Super Bowl, if not top 3. Maybe if not top 2 for the Super Bowl right now in Baltimore. So they have a tough path and a tough schedule, but they are playing really good football all of a sudden after starting 0-3. So I'm not ready to call them frisky, but I will call them intriguing. The New England Patriots are just flat out bad, despite beating the New York Jets last week. Shout out to Ramondre Stevenson. They're just not going far. They're fine. Meh. Even worse than meh. They're bad. I can't say meh. That's going to be the challenge here, is I can't say meh unless you're meh. New Orleans Saints, still intriguing to me. That division's still pretty open, in my opinion. Atlanta's fine. Tampa Bay's good, but very injured on offense now. There's still a path for the Saints, so I will put them on intriguing as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers are actually frisky to me. Now, Russell Wilson hasn't played his best football in a while. No doubt about that. I still think the Badger alum can play good football. And I think we saw some of that last week for Pittsburgh. So I will actually throw Steelers up in frisky. I'm going to do the same with the San Francisco 49ers, who are next on our list. They're getting healthy. They're eventually going to get McCaffrey back. That's a team that's still Super Bowl good, but I'm not ready to say they're sexy yet, just given the record. They're not even in first place of the NFC West as it stands right now due to their loss to the 4-4 Arizona Cardinals, who are in first place due to a tiebreaker in the NFC West. So not quite ready to call them sexy, but I will call them frisky, and they will eventually be sexy. The origin of the word frisky came from the Arizona Cardinals. But they're down to meh, despite being a first-place team. I just don't think they have enough on defense. Kyler Murray's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. I just don't think they have enough, and that division's better than what it shows right now. So I will go meh for the Arizona Cardinals. Open to feedback on that one. Atlanta Falcons, intriguing. I don't think I have to say much more. Kirk O'Chains, baby. Talked about him a little bit on Wednesday. Baltimore Ravens are sexy. Buffalo Bills are sexy. Those are the two biggest competitors when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs throne. No doubt in my mind. Both teams sexy. Panthers are bad. Bears are intriguing. They're intriguing. I want to see them get a win in the NFC North, because then I bump them to frisky. I still view them as the fourth best team in the North, but they're winning football games, and I think they finally might have their quarterback. So they're intriguing. I'm not ready to call them frisky. The Cleveland Browns aren't quite bad. I will just go meh. I think Jameis gives them a whole different complexion than a lot of football fans who don't like their previous quarterback did a few weeks ago, right? Jameis Winston, people love listening to him speak. And he played some really nice football, winning AFC Offensive Player of the Week last week. So I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're a playoff team. So I will go meh with the Cleveland Browns. Hunter, I will give you the honor of slotting your team. Where do the Dallas Cowboys slot right now entering Week 9?
They're bad. They're just a bad football team. If there was a level below bad, I would put them there.
Okay, so let's just meet in the middle then, because I was going to put them intriguing still, despite being a little bit inept at times. We will put them at meh with the Browns and the Cardinals. That feels appropriate. I don't think they're quite Patriots nice. And Panthers bad, but they're not Patriots and Panthers bad, Hunter.
The thing is, for the level of talent that they have on the field, they are, because their expectations should be up with frisky and sexy, because like they have the talent to be there.
That's fair.
But they're nowhere close to that when they actually play on the field. When you have Dan Orlovsky calling out their play calling, saying, yeah, they basically run 4 verts or all curls. That's all they do. Run straight and then or come back to the quarterback. Like,
hey,
that's
man,
bad.
Now you know how we felt at the end of the McCarthy era.
It's so bad.
It's just not very creative, right? Like, LaFleur is creative. McCarthy, I think he's lost his fastball a little bit in that camp. Tennessee Titans are obviously bad. They might be the worst team in the league. The Denver Broncos, to me, are still intriguing. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Sean Payton's a good coach. Defense is looking up. Offense is looking up. I don't know, they're probably not playoff good in a stacked AFC. But they're an intriguing team. They're one where if they were on my TV, I would not flip the channel, right? That's kind of how I view intriguing. If you're on my TV, I'm not flipping the channel, right? Intriguing and up. I'm not turning you off. When I look at the teams in man bad, I'm turning the television off. If the Panthers, Patriots, Titans are playing, I'm turning it off. Cardinals are probably the one exception. I would keep them on because I think Kyler Murray's fun to watch. And maybe the Cowboys an exception there too. The Browns, I'm turning off. Intriguing it up, though, I'm keeping you on. And I'm a football fan, so I'm probably keeping you on no matter what, right? If it's like Titans and Patriots on a Thursday night, you think I'm not watching that? I'm a junkie. Texans are frisky. They're a good team. Tough loss last night. CJ Stroud goes down, comes back in. They're beat up a little bit offensively, obviously, missing Nico Collins. But they're still a frisky team. So I can't write them off despite a loss to the Jets and the Packers in the last few weeks. Texans, frisky. The Colts might need a category of their own, man, because they're a strange team. The Anthony Richardson thing is so weird to me. Checking yourself out of the game, then getting benched for Joe Flacco. You have pieces, but you're not really getting the output you'd anticipate from a team like Indy. I will put them in meh. I'm not ready to put them at the level of the Titans, Patriots, and Panthers, but they're very close to getting there. And speaking of a team who is there, despite giving the Packers a run for their money, that would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson's a dead man walking, and Trevor Lawrence is way worse than he is paid for. Enough said. Do I need to explain the Kansas City Chiefs? They're undefeated. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They're sexy. Enough said there. Let's go to the LA teams. The LA Rams and the LA Chargers up next. Let's go with the Rams first. I'm going to go intriguing for the Rams. Getting cut back, getting Puka Nacua back, who obviously tweaked his, I think it was a hamstring yesterday in practice. Not great if you're a Puka Nacua fantasy owner, but long-term, I think the Rams could still certainly find a way to the playoffs. Go ahead, Hunter.
I'm surprised you didn't put them at frisky, just given, like, if they get healthy, that offense is one of the best in the league. So I think there's just a possibility there that they could wind up as a frisky team, maybe even win a playoff game level team.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're doing this entering week 9. If we're doing this entering week 10, this chart is not the same, right? It's going to change a little bit, and that's a team that could certainly get up there. I'm going to put their LA brethren right next to them. Jim Harbaugh is just fascinating television at all times. They just really don't have receivers, which is so strange to me still, but they're finding ways to win games. I'm putting the Dolphins at meh. I don't know if I'm a believer. Obviously, losing Tua the way they did, they'll come up a little bit. I don't know if I believe in that defense a ton. They've got the weapons. They're just kind of mad at me. Vikings still intriguing, not frisky. Sorry, Vikings. Where do the Giants fall? You're an NFC East guy, so I trust your opinion here. Are they bad or meh? I don't think they're higher than that.
I would put them at meh. I think they're kind of that same spot because, like, they have enough guys that they can do things where you're like, oh, okay, but then they've got Daniel Jones at at quarterback, so they've kind of got a ceiling.
Won't argue with that. The New York Jets are going to be the highest ranked team with a 3-6 record. I almost, I mean, I can't put them at frisky, but 3-6, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, a good defense, new life post Robert Saleh. A win over the Texans has my attention. And I get it. It's on a short week. Texans are going across the country. You've got a lot of other factors working into last night's game. But as I always did as a Packers fan, I still can't break it. I can't pick against Aaron Rodgers. It's so hard for me to do. I've seen that man make magic down the stretch of every NFL season, man. It feels like. I can't rule the Jets out at 3-6. I just can't do it. It's Aaron Rodgers. I cannot rule them out. Jets at intriguing. Raiders, meh. Seahawks, intriguing. So probably a playoff team. I'm going to do this. I think the Bucs are frisky. They're a frisky team. Robert chimes in. Never buy the Jets hype. I'm not buying the hype. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. Could they get in as a 7 seed, though? Yeah, they could. But they've got a lot of games to win yet. I mean, they've already got 6 losses. So they could probably only lose, 2, maybe? No, only 2 games. Because they'd be 9-8 at that point. It might be Aaron Rodgers, but it is the Jets. Great point by Robert. Flat Smack chiming in with a contradictory point to Robert. Relax, RELAX. Jets will run the table. Tell me if you've heard that one before. Just swap out Jets for Packers, right? Yeah, you're totally right, Flat Smack. So, I don't know. I'm intrigued by them. They probably can't lose more than 2 games. In fact, they can't lose more than 2 games down the remainder of the season. They got to beat the Bills, which is obviously a tough test. I think they can beat up on the Pats and the Dolphins. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's impossible for me to pick against him. A couple more teams. Eagles are frisky. I'm not quite ready to call them sexy, but they are a good team. So are the Commanders. Jaden Daniels himself. Did you see the Hail Mary? He looked like Aaron Rodgers. It's awesome. By Jaden Daniels. So I put both the Eagles and the Commanders at Frisky, a battle of who will win the NFC East, Hunter.
Yeah, I hate that so much, just from like how toxic of a fan base the NFC East is as a whole. But I said that the Commanders going into the season were a dumpster fire. Man, Dan Quinn's going to win Coach of the Year. And the problem is like Matt LaFleur should win it, but I just think the turnaround in Washington, he should get it. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, I'm more impressed with what he's done in 1 year than what Matt LaFleur is doing this year with the Packers. And like that sucks for the Packers, but like, geez, they're going to win that division, and I think they're going to win a playoff game or two, and I'm going to hate it.
Oh, that's a prediction. See, now you're being a hero for Commanders fans. Yeah, look, I'm really, really intrigued by the Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. You can probably call that award, by the way, 8 weeks into the season. They're a fun team to watch. And I mean, what they did on Sunday, it's once a year stuff. Jaden Daniels play of the year, right? I mean, it's complete luck. Tyreek Stevenson being a goofball, but unbelievable stuff there. Last two are the Packers and the Lions. We start with the Lions. They're sexy. No doubt about it. They're that damn good. I actually think when you look at the sexy column on your screen, if you're not watching and listening on the podcast side, the top layer sexy is in order: Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. That's how I'd power rank the top 4 teams in the NFL. I know the Lions aren't undefeated, and I know the Chiefs are. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL. I think the Packers are just a grade below them. I still think the Packers are frisky because they haven't played their best football yet. But this is fluid. This can change. This is how I have it slotted now. 5 teams in sexy: Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. 7 teams in frisky. In the NFC: Packers, Niners, Bucks, Commanders, Eagles. 2 AFC teams: Texans, Steelers. Intriguing of note: Bears are an intriguing. Both the LA teams are intriguing. Vikings are an intriguing. So your entire NFC North is up there. 7 teams in meh. Of note: the Raiders, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Cowboys. And then in bad, just 4 teams: Jags, Titans, Patriots, and Panthers. There are your 32 teams in the NFL. I don't think I missed one. So there you go. That's how I have that suited right now. So there you go. There you go. Hunter, any big takeaways or any big disagreements you have with me?
No, I like having the Packers there in that frisky area because, like, if this was a couple of weeks ago, I think I'd put them up at sexy because they were so healthy. But now all of a sudden, health has started to kind of pop in for them, and it's unfortunate. But, like, if you don't 100% know where things are at, because I don't think we've really talked about the fact that, like, I know they haven't said it yet, but groin stuff can kind of last a while. Like, yeah, Jordan Love might be good enough to go and play, but like he may not be as mobile as he always is, even 4 weeks from now, if he's still like playing on that because he's like, I got to be out there, I got to go, and it isn't fully recovered. And like he may not hurt it again, but it's just he's not going to be the same guy, maybe.
No, so I tend to agree. However, the 2 big points that we need to remember are, number one, the scans came back way better than they expected, which is why he could go this week.
Yep.
The other part of that is the bye week, right? He has pretty much a 2 weeks to do whatever he needs to do, which is, heal up, obviously, get treatment, whatever he needs. And that's a lot of time, in my opinion, right? Like, the bye week, and Jason Wilde said this to me the other day, and it stuck with me because it's very true. I feel like as NFL fans, we oftentimes go, hey, the bye week's coming at the perfect time, unless you have like a week 4 bye, which always sucks for everybody. But a week 10 bye is actually perfect. And the Packers are starting to get a little beat up. That injury report's getting long. So this is actually coming at a very good time for the Packers. And as I pointed out multiple times recently, yes, Jordan Love has not played his best football. No doubt about it. But if history repeats itself, which great American orator J. Cole once said, Jordan Love was the best quarterback in football the second half of last season. Coming off of the bye, a lot of divisional games. Could he be that guy again? We certainly hope so. So there you go. There's your tier rankings entering week 9 in the NFL. If you're watching along, let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. What I got wrong? What you would change? Do a top 10 power ranking from your chart from BBJ. We could do that. I'm doing it off the cuff. I'd go 1 Lions, 2 Chiefs, 3 Ravens, 4 Bills, 5 Packers. This is where it gets difficult because I don't have the records in front of me either, right? I might be disrespecting some teams that have a better record than I know. So let's go 5 Packers, 6 Eagles, 7 Niners. I'm just doing a top 7. Top 8. Commanders, number 8. I don't know where the rest of the AFC falls in. And if you would have had me do this yesterday, I have the Texans there. But they lost last night, and it feels icky to reward them after a loss to a 2-6 team. So there's my top 8. And it's a lot of NFC teams at the back end, a lot of AFC teams at the top. So there's where I'll go with that. Let me know what you think for my top 8. It's time now to go over to Underdog, UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code GoodKarma at sign up, GOODKARMA, Good Karma. Look, we've been rolling, man, on the Underdog app and UnderdogFantasy.com. We've been winning. Last night, if you flexed it, you won. I did not. Xavier Hutchinson did not do as well as me and Joshy thought he would do. He had 0 catches. We thought he would have at least 2. But Devontae Adams got in the end zone, and it was higher on Tank Dell's yardage. So if you flexed it, you won 2 times your money last night on Underdog. If you followed our picks from Wednesday, let's try to do it again in the Packers-Lions game. I am on UnderdogFantasy.com. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make an entry. We are playing the Pick'em game on Underdog. All you got to do is look at player projections, click higher or lower on their stats. You can go anywhere between 2 players up to 8 players. And if you go up to 8 players, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. You can turn $1 into $1,000 on the Underdog Fantasy app if you go 8 for 8. But I usually go with the lower pick entries and put a little bit more dough on it. So I usually go somewhere between 2 and 4 picks on my entry, throw $5 or $10 down, and try to turn that into like 60, 70, 80. And I've done that a few times. We're on a little bit of a heater right now. We went 2 for 3 last night, and I did not flex the entry, but it would have been a win had I. So anyway, all right, let's take a look at some of these stats for this weekend. I like Jared Goff higher than 229.5 passing yards, 229.5. I do like Jared Goff for higher than that on Sunday. They do not have a projection right now at this moment. They will by Sunday for Josh Jacobs yards because they're waiting to see who will play quarterback for the Packers. So none of the quarterbacks are on here. So I'm just going to go as simple as this. Higher than half a rush or receiving touchdown than Josh Jacobs. I'd be shocked if he didn't get in the end zone. And then I'm going to go a little bit weird off the board. Higher than 1.5 field goals made for Brandon McManus. I know Hunter and I just talked about how they need to get 7 over 3. I just don't know if that's going to happen. And given the way the games have ended the last few weeks for Green Bay, it's with a McManus kick. So if he gets one other one and he wins again with a walk-off, there's your 2. So I'm just going to go a classic 3-pick entry on Underdog, and I am going to flex it. No, I'm not. I'm going to go standard. Jared Goff, higher than 229.5. Josh Jacobs, higher than half of a touchdown. And Brandon McManus, higher than 1.5 field goals made. $10, turn that into 64 on the Underdog app and UnderdogFantasy.com. Just sign up using promo code GoodKarma, GOODKARMA. Good Karma, all one word. Get up to $1,000 deposit match, a free pick, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Why do I need to sell you on it anymore? It's so fun to watch along, and you can do it for all the games. I just always do it for the Green Bay game. So there you go, right on the bottom here, you see. Use promo code GoodKarma up to 1,000 times your moolah. Win some money, baby. Let's go. Week 9 in the NFL. Okay, 1 year ago, we did this. We're bringing it back. Wacky Friday, Fun Friday, Freaky Friday, however you want to view it.
Do I need the dump button ready?
It is time now to bring in. You should probably have the dump button ready. Yeah. One of my good friends and, of course, our social media extraordinaire, Maddie Hayes, joins us now on Mr. Relevant. She has written 5 questions for me. I do not know what they are. They could be sports. They could not be sports. They could be any of the in-betweens. Maddie Hayes joins us now. Hello, Maddie.
Hi, Stroufy. Also, Hunter, this is the internet, so I can say whatever I want. That's why
I was told that is not allowed. So
yes, that's also what I was told.
Okay, well, maybe I should change my questions then. Just kidding.
That was well done. All right, you've got 5 questions for me. I have no idea what's coming. I'm a little bit nervous. I was nervous last year. I didn't bring you back for a full year for a reason.
Because they weren't good?
No, it was because I'm scared to put a microphone in front of your face. You are a little bit of a loose cannon. And I mean that as a compliment.
The YouTube listeners are in for a treat. Then,
all right, here we go.
Before this gets taken down.
Question 1, go ahead.
Question 1, the Milwaukee Bucks had another loss last night to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, 1-4.
Yeah, 1-4. They lost 122 to 99.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Cavs tomorrow at home. Should the Bucks never have fired Bud? A question I asked myself a lot last night.
Yeah, it's a good question. Does Mike Budenholzer give you the best chance to win? Look, I still think it was the right decision. But does he give you a better chance to win than maybe Doc Rivers does? I think the answer is probably yes. Keep an eye on the Phoenix Suns this year.
What do you think about Griff? Right now, Griff had a better record last year than Doc does now.
Well, right. I mean, you mean overall, or you mean at 1-4? I mean, 1-4 is a really bad start.
Yeah.
I think a change of scenery was necessary for Bud and the Bucks. So I don't regret necessarily the firing, but obviously he won you a title. He did some really great things, and the leash was maybe shorter than it should have been. But I still think Doc Rivers will give you a good chance to win. This is just a team that can't shoot the 3-ball. And the way the NBA works, you need to be able to shoot the 3-ball, and they're getting completely outshot in each of the last 4 games.
They're also making bad decisions where if Giannis is wide open down under, instead of giving it to Giannis, they're jumping it out to the 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Giannis keeps saying they don't have an identity, and I could buy that.
Hey, Robert chiming in and saying, Maddie, I've got your answer. Getting rid of Drew Holiday is what killed that team the most. I agree with that.
That's a good take.
I mean, you miss that defensive presence from a guy that could definitely win Defensive Player of the Year and is always all defense. And look, he was a good floor general. Damian Lillard gives you a completely new look offensively, a new identity, but you lose that identity defensively. And that's what Bucks fans were worried about last year when that move was made. But I still think Dame and Giannis can find a way to mesh and be championship level good. So I'm not ready to give up. I'm not ready to hit the panic button at 1-4. But this has got to turn around. It's got to turn around quick.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like there's a lot of role players, or there's a lot of stars and not a lot of role players.
Yeah, good question for question 1. This is good.
All right, number 2. There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL right now. Any bad team that you're secretly rooting for? You know, we were watching the Jets last night. I'm a Browns fan. Any bad team that you're kind of rooting for?
Okay, so I just did the tiers, so this helps. The teams I have in the bad category are only the Jags, Titans, Patriots, and Panthers. I can't say I'm particularly rooting for any of them. But in the meh category, the one that does stand out, I think Hunter's going to know my answer here. And I don't even think they're bad. I just have them at meh. They're 500. They're 4-4. Does that count as bad? They're also technically winning their division.
Is this the Bucks you're going to say?
No, I was going to say the Cardinals.
Okay, I wouldn't say they're bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But I wouldn't agree for that answer for you.
Well, Jets 3-6. I mean, that'd be my answer.
Yeah.
Jets 3-6. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Jets. I don't want them to win the Super Bowl by any means. Obviously, I want the Packers to. As much as I dislike Aaron Rodgers off the field shenanigans, it's so fun to watch him play football still at 40 years old. Devontae Adams, hard not to root for him. I like Alan Lazard, hard not to root for him. It's a really interesting situation since they're the only team so far this season that has fired their head coach. So yeah, the Jets would be my answer here.
I also need to give you crap for not putting the Browns in the interesting category. They are definitely interesting now.
First off, it was the intriguing category.
Oh, that's
the same
me,
idea.
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, pay attention, would you?
Yeah.
Jameis, I'm rooting for.
Not Myles Garrett, not Nick Chubb.
I no. Nick Chubb, yes, because he's on a lot of my fantasy teams, but other than that, no. And you know, one of my golden rules of radio is nobody gives a damn about your fantasy team.
What do you think who has a better chance of making the playoffs, the Jets or the Browns?
Ooh, great question. Browns' record is what? Remind me.
2 wins. We have 2 in. What week are we in? 2 and 5. 2 and 6?
Yeah, 2 and it would be 2 and 5 if they've had their bye.
Yeah.
So 2 and 5. I'll give it to the Browns. They have one. They have one less loss. They obviously also have one less win. But,
Ravens.
Yeah.
The win was to the Ravens.
Yeah, right. I know.
Which was in your top category of sexy.
Yeah,
I pay attention.
Sexy. Yeah, Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills in my sexy category, which I think is all fair. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Browns too. A, because I'm friends with you, but also B, because Jameis is just incredible.
And what a great story this would be.
Yeah, again, second year in a row, a quarterback that can't find a home wills them to. Did the Browns make the playoffs?
Made the playoffs last year.
They lost in the first round. That's right. Okay, good. Question 3.
How are my questions so far, Hunter?
They're good. I haven't had to push the dump button, so I'm feeling good about them. That was my only
Hey, for
concern.
what it's worth, our viewership has gone up since you've joined the show, so that's good.
All right, good questions. All right, I've seen a lot of debate on the internet this week. Who has the better fan base, the Lions or the Packers? Is this even a debate? Who has a better fan base?
No.
It's not a debate.
It's the Green Bay Packers.
I don't the Packers have a 30-year-long wait list to get tickets.
Yes, you're right. The answer is the Packers. But if we reframed the question, right? Who is it better to be a fan of?
Packers.
Overall, yes. But right now?
Lions have sucked until recent years.
But think about the hell they've been through. And I think this is why this is a question. Mm-hmm. Because they've been loyal and they've stuck by the Lions side, similarly to you have with the Browns, right? Yeah. They're a very loyal fan base. But the better fan base is the Packers.
I mean, the Packers have the most backer bars in the world.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's no comparison here, but no, I do feel for the Lions fans. Shout out to them.
I didn't see this discourse though, so I appreciate you bringing it up to me.
It's been heavy on my For You pages.
This is your social media talking. Maddie Hayes, for those of you unaware, does run our social medias. Medias. Well, kind of. I mean, you still have a hand in Madison, obviously, and now in Milwaukee, but you and I were together in Madison.
Personal, which are a handful.
Oh, stop it. Maddie Hayes 24 on Instagram. Anyway, continue.
Madison Hayes 24.
Madison Hayes 24 on Instagram. Yeah.
Speaking of social media, though, this next question is right up. It's a good mix of both of our alleys. Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Do you know where I'm going?
I don't.
Him and his girlfriend posted pictures of their Halloween costumes on Instagram. It is her as a mermaid laying on the beach and him as a fisherman.
Okay, what's the question?
What do you think of this new era of Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
Calling people soft all over socials, has this younger girlfriend. Who is Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick is not New England Bill Belichick. That is the answer. It's a great point. He like his media era has been really fun. You know, he's doing a show on Sirius XM. He's with ESPN. Doing the Pat McAfee show and stuff like that, which has been really entertaining to watch. The younger girlfriend thing, look.
Whatever.
You go, Bill.
You did your time.
Yeah.
Being an NFL coach is hard work. You did your time.
The advice I'd always give somebody with a very large age gap is make sure the younger one is in it for the right reasons. Right? Do we know? I think her name is Jordan. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do we know Jordan loves Bill, or does she love what Bill can give her? Right? And I don't know. I'm not trying to slander Jordan. Maybe she's a lovely woman and she's deeply in love. I don't know.
Okay.
But and I hope that is the case for Bill.
Somewhere in the middle with the mutual agreement's fine.
But this is a great point again by Rob. Robert is on fire in the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel. Bill is a Halloween mogul ever since back when he was a pirate for Randy Moss's Halloween party. Now, there's that great clip that circulated of Randy Moss inviting Bill Belichick to the party, and him and his ex-wife showed up, and he was like in a full-blown pirate costume. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick, as you know, closed office as he is, does love Halloween. So props to him.
I mean, it's just interesting. You know, Urban, after he left Ohio State, all that mess, and then Nick Saban, he's on game day. It's just like interesting to see this like coach and what they do afterwards.
Yeah, Saban too. I mean, it's been fun to watch the evolution of these coaches. I'm with you on that. Was that question 4 or 3?
That was 4. We're flying by.
Okay, here we go. Last one.
Okay, last one's fun though.
Okay.
It is National Sandwich Day.
Oh, man.
You love sandwiches.
I do.
And I know your favorite sandwich because we have the same favorite sandwich that we sometimes get for lunch.
Yeah, like a capricola, salami, pepperoni,
Anything Italian.
Yeah.
Anything Italian.
Yeah.
So my question for you, Alex Strouf, is if you had to delete one sandwich from the existence of the earth, what sandwich would that be? And it's for all mankind.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Wait, so like that means they can't rediscover it? Because like somebody's going to have the idea.
This is gone forever.
So that means that type of bread and meat are just gone forever. Okay.
If they try to make
Not
this,
the type of
if
bread,
they try
'cause
to
I'm
make
not-
this combination, it disappears.
Yeah, I'm not going to go with a bread thing.
Hunter, I wanna hear yours,
I don't
too.
think this thing belongs on bread is going to be my take.
I know. It's going to be tuna.
No, I like tuna sandwiches.
I see what you're
And I like egg salad, so it's nothing that
Okay,
people like
I'm interested
often
now.
dislike. It's been a fad recently, it feels like. Teriyaki chicken. Put it on rice. Don't put it on bread.
I like it. I like a teriyaki chicken sandwich.
Yeah, but it's not necessary as a sandwich. Put it on rice or noodles or whatever. It doesn't need to be on bread.
I think there's better takes than this. I guess.
But you said I have to delete one sandwich. That would be the one I don't eat that I would delete, right?
Gotcha,
So, like,
gotcha.
if you said, hey, of the Reuben buffalo chicken Italian or, Philly, which one are you deleting? Then that would be a really hard question.
Oh.
Because I don't know the answer.
No, I mean, I love a Reuben, but like
I do
there's different variations of the Reuben, and I'm like, you can get rid of this.
Well, right, but I'm just talking like the classic
That's what I
rye
should
bread,
have asked
corned
you.
beef,
You love a Philly.
sauerkraut. I love a Philly. I love a Reuben. I went on a search when I lived in Madison. We obviously did with our friends from Lake Louie. We did the best burger bracket earlier in the year. I did my own personal Alex Strouf best Reuben bracket.
Oh my gosh.
In Madison. And you know what? I like this bar, so I'm going to give him free pub. Cooper's Pub on the Square in Madison.
Oh, amazing.
Best Reuben I've ever had.
Wow.
So that is, that's the little journey I went on in Madison. I haven't really been on a kick in Milwaukee yet since I've moved here in terms of like the best food I'm looking for.
I mean, we have so many options here. It's actually insane.
Yeah. Well, you do in Madison too, because like Mexican food in Madison, terrific.
Oh, but I mean like lunch here. So many options.
Oh, at this specific office? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're right outside the Third Street Market Hall, which has, I'm looking at a hot dog place. I'm looking at an Italian joint. I'm looking at an Asian joint. There's a pie shop. There's a noodle shop. There's a wing joint, right? So
anything you
you've
need.
got options. So there you go.
Wait, can I break some news before I leave?
Yeah, break some news.
Do you have any sound, Hunter?
Probably not.
Da 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 da.
we don't
Reese
need
Hoskins back with an $18 million player option
nice.
to come back for the Brewers next year.
That's great.
Love it.
That's great.
For all your Brewers and Bucks and
Get out
Marquette, please go
Maddie
follow
Hayes.
on socials. Thank you.
Maddie Hayes, out of here. Good work by her. We will do this again, and it will be in less than a year.
Wow. Write that down. What's today?
Today is November 1st. Hunter, what do you think? We don't have to make a decision now. Once a month we do this?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Wow.
I'm good with
Sure what Hunter was gonna say.
I'm good with a 5-question Friday.
Yeah.
5-question Friday.
Replace the Russo
I
Friday.
think- yeah, R.I.P. He
R.I.P.
was on
Russo.
last week, but he's not dead. He's alive and well.
He's
He
dead to
literally was
us.
on the show 7 days ago. No, once again, I say he was on the show literally 7 days ago.
Yeah, Hunter, I agree.
Yeah, but
He's
I
dead
wasn't
to us.
producing, so he's dead to me. He left the state. Don't even think about him.
Yeah.
ESPN West Palm, Russo, and Rizzo. Colin Russo we're referring to, formerly of ESPN Madison. All right, thank you, Maddie. Last thing we need to get to is what we learned, which I learned this from head coach Greg Gard, who, of course, will be part of our Coaches Week coming up next week on ESPN Wisconsin as we tip off the college basketball season. Hunter has not watched or heard this clip yet, so I want to play it, and I want to get Hunter's reaction to this because I was really impressed with the conversation I had with Greg Gard. For a guy that could probably sit down and complain, given the turnover his roster had. He lost 8 guys to the transfer portal, and he lost Tyler Wall to graduation. That's essentially his entire roster outside of John Blackwell, Max Klesmit, and Steven Crowell gone, right? And there's a few other guys that are back. But in terms of the key pieces, those are the only 3 he is back. When you look at how consistent turnover has been and how the evolution of college basketball happens, right? The new look Big Ten is the root of what Greg Gard, you're about to hear him say, this is the direction Greg Gard thinks college basketball may be going. Take a listen to Greg Gard from Coaches Week, which will be released Monday.
I'm almost a proponent, Alex, I think with where college athletics, specifically at the Power 5 level, is going, we need to just play 34 conference games. Go play. There's 18 of us play, 17 of them twice. There's 34. And I know coaches get into, I need to have, some build-up games. Ask Andy Reid where his easy game is, or Matt LaFleur. Ask him which one of those 17 are easy. There aren't any. So I think when we're really looking at what we're trying to accomplish from a financial standpoint and a bottom line with revenue sharing and everything, why not tee up 34 of them and play? The Lakers don't play the Sioux Falls Skyforce.
No, they do not.
So I see that's where we're going.
Really good stuff there from Greg Gard. We had about a 25-minute conversation, which you can watch beginning Monday morning on the ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison YouTube channels. We will also be playing the full interviews for you. Or not the full. We're going to have condensed versions on the radio, ESPN Madison, ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPN Milwaukee on your radio dial. And all 4 interviews in their entirety will be released on the Mr. Irrelevant podcast feed as well. If you're not already subscribed, we do this thing 3 times a week. I'm seeing some new names in the chat today. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12:30 Central to 1:30 Central. And you can find us wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Search Mr. Irrelevant. It will be your first result that pops up. So I want to go to the other college basketball fan on the panel. That, of course, is Hunter Vaughn, Tiny Hands. You hear guards say that. With the conference expansion, we should just go to 34 conference games. Ask Andy Reid where his easy game is. And also a good call out of the Sioux Falls Skyforce by Gardo there. But what's your reaction to that, Hunter?
This loses all of its mustard given what I'm wearing right now. Sounds like he's afraid of what's coming from Marquette and doesn't want to play him anymore. And that loses all
Hunter
the mustard.
Vaughn, for those of you on the podcast side, Wisconsin loses all the mustard. Wisconsin shirt, Wisconsin hat for Hunter Vaughn right now.
Yeah,
on the video stream
because volleyball's playing Nebraska tonight. But yeah, like that's my problem. Is like you have those rivalries, like Kentucky and Louisville, in that model wouldn't play because they're not both in the same conference. Like I think you lose some of that from that. So like maybe knock it down to you play 30. And then you still get like 4 non-conference. So it's kind of similar to the way that college football has it right now, where you still have a couple of non-conference. But it's probably going to go that way because they want the big matchups. That's what the TV networks are going to want. Like Tausch always says on Wilde and Tausch, entertain me. Those are far more entertaining. Like I'm going to watch Marquette play St. Thomas, but I don't really care until they play the big time games. I don't care. So, yeah, I think that's the direction it's going to go.
I think that's well said. So just a final thought. Shaka Smart, I got him to talk about the Wisconsin rivalry. And then at the end he goes, but I'm focused on Stony Brook. And I go, I'm glad I asked you that the week before the season tips off because he gave me like a 3-minute answer on how special that rivalry is. And I know Hunter and I are both huge fans of that rivalry. I'm especially biased this year. It's in Milwaukee the year I moved to Milwaukee. It is being played on my birthday, Wisconsin at Marquette on December 7th, which is a Saturday. So that's freaking awesome, selfishly. So there you go. All right, that does it for us today. Final thoughts on Packers-Lions. It's going to be a shootout. I've got the Lions. I think the Packers lose on Sunday. I think it's like a 31-28, though. I think it's going to be a really good game. And even with a loss, I think this is a great measuring stick game for the Packers. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we make it look like Thanksgiving 2.0 from a year ago, where the Packers go in there, quick pick six or quick defensive, turnover, score early, score often. It's out of hand by halftime. That's the hope. I don't think that's what we're going to get. We will all find out. But hey, everybody's beatable in the NFL, especially when your team's as good as the Green Bay Packers are at 6-2. We will react to that game with you beginning at 12:30 on Monday. And we will tip off Coaches Week on Monday. Jam-packed show on Monday. Can't wait to do it with you beginning at 12:30 Central. Reminder, you can tune into Green Bay Game Day beginning at noon on Sunday. I'll be live from Green Bay. Super Bowl champ Jarrett Bush, Gabe Neitzel, Jason Wilde, Rob Domofsky, Steve Scafidi all join me throughout as we lead you up to kickoff 3:25 for Packers-Lions. We'll talk to you on Sunday on Green Bay Game Day. We will talk to you once again on Mr. Relevant on Monday. Have a terrific weekend. Badgers will win by 1 point, and no more than 20 points will be scored tomorrow. Mr. Relevant, presented by Dork County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace.